Good morning, guys.
Good morning.
Good morning.
How are you?
Good morning,
Hi.
everyone.
Hi, good morning.
Good morning. Are you ready for the exam?
Yes.
Yes.
Good,
Right.
good.
Good morning.
Good morning. So that means that you're ready for the 10 that you will get. If you
I
study.
think so.
Good. So don't worry. If you study, you will have it. It is pretty easy and simple. Easy and simple. I don't know why Luis can enter. I always give admit, but he can enter. It's like yesterday. All right, so we are going to start with the attendance for today. So you're going to see on the screen your name, and you will hear it too, so that you say present. So let's start with the first person. Isaac Aguillon. He's not here right now, maybe later. Hazael Alfaro.
Present.
Good. Rodrigo Alfaro.
Present.
Good. Carlos Asensio. Carlos Asensio, no. Okay, next one, Osvaldo Cáceres.
Present.
Good. Elizabeth Castro. Elizabeth Castro. Next person, Jordi Castro.
Present.
Good. Nathalie Dubon.
Good morning.
Good morning, Luis. Nathalie Dubon. No. Okay, next one, René Gutierrez.
Vote.
René.
No.
No, he's not here. Okay. Luz Enriquez. No. Okay, next one. Luis Liotti.
Present.
Good. Jose Marquez. He's not here. Leticia Orellana. She's not here right now. Jocelyn Ramos.
Present.
Good. Raúl Antonio Reynosa. She's not here right now. Jaime Rivas.
Present.
Good. Carla Rodríguez.
Present.
Good. Héctor Ruiz.
Present.
Okay, so he's here.
Present.
Okay. Walter Sánchez.
Present.
Good. Michelle Valiente.
Present.
Good. Candy Villacorta. Candy. No. And the last one, Brian Villalta. Brian? No. Okay, so this is the attendance right now. As you know, we are going to have it at the end of the class. So what we are going to do today is that we are going to have first a review about the topics that we had in unit number 1 and unit number 2, and then you're going to do the test. In the test, Well, you're going to go to week number 4. I'm going to explain to you right now. So the test, you go to week number 2, sorry. You go to week number 2. You click on it. And you will see that it says examen semanal. So you enter there, and there you will find an exam, like this one. So there you will get all the information that you will complete, but I will tell you in some minutes how you're going to complete it. Right now, I guess you cannot see the exam because I will open the exam at 6:30 so that you have some minutes more than an hour to do it. But obviously it is going to be pretty easy, so you won't need more than 45 minutes because it is super easy. Now, first, as I told you, the review, and then we do the test or the exam. So let's start with the review. Let's see if you studied. Next person, Luz. Do you remember the topics in unit number 1?
Gerunds and infinitives, right?
Good. Gerunds and infinitives. So you have gerunds after prepositions and you have infinitives to express purpose. So when you have two verbs together, you also have infinitives and gerunds. So in other words, we have 3 different ways. The first one is infinitive to express purpose. The second one is gerunds after prepositions. And the last one is gerunds or infinitive after verbs. So let's see some examples. When we say infinitives to express purpose, is like when you say para. Yes? So you can say, I do exercise to be healthy. I do exercise to be healthy. Or you can say, I study English to learn more. Or you can say, I visit my family to have a good time. I watch a movie to spend my time. Or I call my friends to tell my problems. So you will use to and the verb when you want to express a reason. So I'm going to show it to you on the screen right now. And this is what you have. How to use infinitives. So you're going to use infinitive to express a reason. So you will say to bring. If you remember, we were checking about the mission and the vision of the company, and you were saying to be the number one, to be the number one, or to bring inspiration. So that is infinitive too. But the translation is going to be different depending on what you want to express. For example, if you want to say the purpose, the translation is para. For example, you say, I do exercise to be healthy. I do exercise to be healthy. So you're saying, hago ejercicio para estar saludable. I do exercise to be healthy. But if you say infinitive at the beginning of a sentence, like the mission is to bring inspiration. In that case, you're not going to translate it like para. In that case, it's going to be traer. Yes, to bring, traer. Or when you say to help people, ayudar a la gente. Or to provide a service. Yes, so whenever you're using to at the beginning of a sentence, that is not going to be para. That is going to be only normal verb. Comprar, traer, saludar, convertirse, ayudar, planificar, any verb in infinitive form, like a normal verb. So there you're not going to translate it like para. Para is only when you say like two sentences. For example, I want to drive my car to go to the supermarket. I want to drive my car to go to the supermarket. So you have two sentences. In the first one, you don't use infinitive. In the second one, you're using infinitive because you're describing the reason or the purpose. I want to drive my car to go to the supermarket. Or I want to drink coffee to feel better. I want to drink coffee to feel better. Or I want to go to the beach to relax. I want to go to the beach to relax. Or I want to watch a movie to spend time with my little sister. Or you can say the reason why you do something every day. So you can say something like, I play video games to feel relaxed. I play video games to feel relaxed. Or I swim in a pool to get fresh. I swim in a pool to get fresh. Or I clean my house. I clean my house to look better. I clean my house to look better. So in that case, limpio mi casa para que luzca mejor. Para. Why para? Because you have two sentences. So in Spanish, entonces van a encontrar el infinitivo y ese infinitivo puede ser que esté al inicio de una oración y si está al inicio de una oración ustedes no lo van a traducir como para, sino que en ese caso sería un verbo normal, como que ustedes dijeran traer, comprar, jugar, comer, en forma infinitiva normal, ¿sí? Pero si hay dos oraciones y ustedes están describiendo la razón por lo que lo hacen o el propósito con el que lo hacen, entonces allí, si está en la segunda oración, ahí sí ya va a ser descrita como para. Por ejemplo, yo limpio mi casa para que se vea mejor o para que luzca mejor. I clean my house to look better. ¿Sí? Entonces, todas las cosas que ustedes digan al inicio va a ser infinitivo, pero va a ser de una forma normal. Comprar, jugar, caminar, saltar. Eso va a ser al inicio de una oración. ¿Sí? Se traduce de una forma natural. Comer, jugar, comprar, bailar. Pero si está en dos oraciones y ese infinitivo está en la segunda oración, allí ya va a ser para. Usted puede decir, yo tomo café para tener energía. I drink coffee to have energy. I drink coffee to have energy. So in that case, is para. Yes? So this is the first one. Infinitive. Infinitive. Now, the second topic was gerunds after prepositions. So if you remember in gerunds after prepositions, we were saying that when you say a preposition like preposition for, preposition about, preposition of, preposition to, before, after, with all kind of prepositions, you will always use a gerund. Yes? So with these expressions, responsible for, or responsible for, responsible to, is a person in charge of, and then you use the gerund. So if we go to the box that we were checking last time, and you check over here, it says that with these words, be responsible for, that you can see here in the first box, with be responsible for, be in charge of, be accountable for, committed to, and decided to, you always use a gerund. So for example, I am, you cannot say I be, you won't say I be, but you can say I am. So I am responsible for sending the information. I am responsible for checking emails. I am responsible for monitoring. I am responsible for supervising. I am responsible for creating. I am responsible for attending meetings. So any kind of responsibilities that you have, you can say it like this, and you will say, I am responsible for. You don't have to say only I responsible. I responsible. You say I am, because you're saying yo soy. So I am responsible for, and after for you need the gerund. I am responsible for checking, for playing, for understanding, and the rest. Then the next example, using in charge of. So you will say I am in charge of, I am in charge of. So I am in charge of playing instruments. I am in charge of sending information. I'm in charge of creating meetings. I'm in charge of organizing events. So in charge of, but you always use the verb be. So you would say I am, or the contraction I'm. I'm in charge of. I'm in charge of. So when you say I'm in charge of, you're saying estoy a cargo de. I am in charge of monitoring people. I am in charge of sending reports. I'm in charge of verifying the process and more. Now the other one, be accountable for, which is exactly the same meaning. And you will say, I am accountable for sending reports. I am accountable for asking for information. I am accountable for supervising people. So you use the gerund too. Then committed to. I am committed to organizing events. I am committed to preparing, and like that. In that case, you have to, but to is not for infinitive in this case. This to is a preposition. Why? Because this is like a phrasal verb. Be committed to. So if you say be committed to, you use a phrasal verb. And a phrasal verb is a verb and a preposition. So in this case, be committed is a verb and the preposition is to. Then dedicated to. I am dedicated to helping. I am dedicated to creating. So you also use the ing form. And you need to remember that in this case, to is not infinitive, to is a preposition. And you will always, always, always find a gerund after prepositions. Any questions about it, guys?
No question.
All right, so let's see, Hazael. How would you complete, let's see the first one. Hazael, how would you complete number one? Who is responsible for, and here in parentheses you have the verb that you have to use. How do you complete it?
Eh,
Yes,
eh,
Hazael?
eh, the supervisor is
No, no, Hazel, just complete the question. This is a question. Here you have the space. You have to use this verb in the correct form. So how do you complete it?
I don't know. I don't know.
¿Cómo completa la oración o cómo completa la pregunta utilizando el verbo que tiene en paréntesis?
Supervisor.
Yes, but I need you complete the sentence. Quiero que complete la oración utilizando un gerundio. ¿Por qué utilizar un gerundio? Porque tiene la preposición for y después tiene el verbo en paréntesis. Entonces, ¿cómo lo completaría?
Supervising.
Ok, pero léalo y complételo.
Who is responsible for supervising the matching operation?
So that's better. Who is responsible for supervising? For supervising. So for is a preposition. So you use supervising in the ing form. Next one, Michelle, number 2.
Who is in charge of checking the quality of the products?
Good. In charge of checking. Good. Next one, Raul, number 3.
Okay, who is responsible for repairing the problems on the machines?
Good. So for repairing. Next one, Jaime.
Who is accountable for selling the products?
Good. Good. For selling. Next one, Raul.
Okay, who is in charge of assisting the assemblers?
Good. In charge of assisting. And then
Assisting.
Walter. Last one.
Who is accountable for managing the whole operation?
The whole
The
operation.
whole.
In that case, the whole means the complete operation. Good. And this is the way that you use gerunds and infinitives. In this case, gerunds after prepositions. But also, you can use gerunds after some verbs. And you can use infinitive after some verbs. If you remember, we said that you can use infinitive after the verb want, after the verb need,
Need,
after the
have,
verb
and
have, after the verb hope, and more verbs. For example, I want to eat. I need to study. I have to play. I hope to pass. So you're using infinitive after the verb need, want, hope, and want. You're going to use gerunds after the verbs enjoy, mind, dislike, and other verbs. For example, I enjoy dancing. I enjoy dancing. I enjoy working. I enjoy playing. Here you cannot say I enjoy to work. I enjoy working. Next one, dislike. I dislike, I don't know, I dislike driving in the traffic jam. I dislike, I don't know, let me see. I dislike buying in crowded places. I dislike buying in crowded places, places with full of people. So I don't like it, I dislike it. And the last one is that you have gerunds or prepositions. You can use both verbs. You can use infinitive or you can use infinitive or gerunds. And in this case, the meaning is the same or the meaning is different. If the meaning is the same, like for example, you will use the verb like, love, the verb hate. For example, I like drinking water. I like drinking water. So you're saying I like drinking, but you can also say I like to drink. And the two options are correct because the verb like can be used with infinitive or gerund. You can say I love dancing or I love to dance. You can say I hate traveling or I hate to travel, and the meaning is the same. But you need to be careful because with some verbs, the meaning is different. For example, with the verb stop, with the verb remember, with the verb forget. Why? Because if you say, for example, I stop to read a book, it means that you are doing an action, you stop that action, and you start reading a book. So I stop to read a book. If you say I stop reading using gerund, that means that you don't do it anymore. Yes, I stop reading a book. So that is like the way that you're going to use infinitive and gerunds. Do you have any questions, guys?
No, teacher.
All right. So next part is passive voice. In passive voice, remember that is everything that you say es controlado, es mejorado, es conocido, es reconocido, es evaluado, son mejorados. So that is passive voice. And you're going to use the verb be and the past participle of the verb. So if you downloaded the application, you found first the verb in the present, then the verb in the past, and then you found the past participle of the verb. So this is what you have over here, the past participle of the verb. For example, you say Rex is known. So known is the past participle of the verb. In the present is know. In the past is knew. In the past participle is none. So in this case, you use past participle, but they are not verbs. They are like adjectives. Yes, like adjectives are son reconocidos o son escritos, son beneficiados. So those are adjectives. Son adjetivos, pero ustedes los crean a partir del pasado participio. ¿Sí? Si es singular, is. Si es plural, are. Is recognized, are recognized, is rated, are rated, is known, are known, is preferred, are preferred, uh, is commemorized, or are if it is plural. So you're using the verb be and the past participle of the verb. It's like the examples that you have over here. Our company is, and in parentheses you have the verb that you have to use in the correct form. So you will say our company is, the past participle, consider. So if the verbs are regular, they are the same in the past and the same in the past participle. If the verb is irregular, it is different. Entonces aquí ocuparían para la voz pasiva el pasado participio del verbo. ¿Y cuál es el pasado participio? El pasado participio en los verbos regulares es lo mismo que el verbo en el pasado. ¿sí? Y el pasado participio en los verbos irregulares es irregular, entonces ahí sí se lo tienen que aprender, ¿verdad? En este tema se ocupa el pasado participio, pero no se ocupa el pasado participio como un verbo, sino que se ocupa el pasado participio como un adjetivo, como cuando usted dice es comparado, es evaluado, es conocido, es visto, es percibido. Entonces todo eso es al final como un adjetivo, no una acción, ¿verdad? Conocido no es una acción, percibido no es una acción, visto no es una acción, sino que es un adjetivo. Entonces, let's complete the exercises. Number 2, Jocelyn, how do you complete it?
Our products rated at 5 the most popular in the United States.
Our products, in that case, are
Are
rated,
rated.
exactly, because products are plural. So products plural are. The past participle rated, it's regular. Number 3, Luis.
Our customer service agents are perceived as the most efficient in the sector.
Good. Our customer service agents, plural.
Are perceived.
Exactly. So it is plural. You say are. Are perceived. Are perceived. Number 4, lose.
The brand is seen as the leader in the energy drinks. So
Okay. So you say the brand is, because the brand is singular, is, and then the verb seen, is seen as the leader in the energy drinks market. Number 5, Michelle participated before. Let's see, Elizabeth.
Number 5,
Yes.
the company known as Major, producer of shoes in the region.
Okay, but remember that you need to use the verb be.
Is the company is known
Exactly.
as a major producer of shoes in the region.
Good. So the company is known as a major producer of shoes in the region. Good. Good, 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 good. Next one. Let's see. Next person will be Letty.
Our vegetables are rated as the least contaminated of the national market.
Good. So our vegetables are rated. Yes? And this is the way that you completed unit number 1. Now unit number 2. In unit number 2, we were checking just vocabulary like branches and headquarters. If you remember, the headquarters are the main offices, and the branches are like stores, little stores that you have, or let's say other parts of the company that you have in different sections or in different cities or different departments or different countries. Yes, so that was the difference between branches and headquarters. We were talking about industries, and we were saying the beauty and personal care industry, the construction industry, the textile industry, the telecommunication industry, the finance industry, the automotive industry, the packaging industry, the beverage industry, the tourism industry, and the pharmaceutical industry. So those are the industries that we were checking. And we were saying that we have companies in those industries, like for example, banks, soft drinks companies, garnitures companies, cardboard boxes company, buildings companies, mobile phones companies, medicine companies, car components companies, hair salon services companies, clothes companies. And then we were matching like the kind of industry that each company belongs to. So that was the first part. Then we were checking WH questions in the present, like when you say what, where, when, who, and the rest. So here we have some examples. What do you do? What department do you supervise? What branch does she manage? Where does your company manufacture? What unit do you oversee? Who do you report to? So you have questions like what, where, who, which, and the rest. So when you use WH questions, you have to remember that they have a specific information that you have to give. For example, when you say what, the question is ¿cuál or qué? So in the answer, you're going to have an object or a thing. You will have a thing. For example, what do you do on Saturdays? Oh, I watch TV. So that is a thing. That is a thing. Eso es una cosa, una situación. Yes? But if the question is when, in the answer you will have dates. Si la pregunta es con when, en la respuesta ustedes siempre van a tener fechas, días. Entonces, when do you go to the supermarket? Oh, I go to the supermarket on weekends. Yes, I go to the supermarket on weekends. So on weekend is a date. Entonces, cuando tengan la pregunta when, la respuesta siempre va a ser una fecha o un día, ¿verdad? Entonces, ¿cuándo vas al supermercado? Oh, voy al supermercado los fines de semana. Entonces, fines de semana es el día o la fecha. Next one, when you say where. Cuando dicen where, en la respuesta van a tener place, un lugar, ¿verdad? Where do you live? I live in San Salvador. Where do you work? I work at Tigo. Entonces siempre tienen un lugar cuando la pregunta es where. ¿Sí? Where? Where do you study? Where do you play basketball? Where do you go on vacation? Where do you eat pupusas? Entonces, ¿dónde hace algo usted? Y en la respuesta siempre va a tener un lugar cuando la pregunta sea where. Siguiente es who. Cuando tiene who, la pregunta es quién. Entonces, en la respuesta siempre va a tener una persona. For example, who do you live with? Who do you live with? ¿Con quién vives? Who do you live with? Who do you live with? Y en ese caso, with está hasta el final de la pregunta. No está como with who do you live? With who do you live? Who do you live with? Who do you work with? Who do you play basketball with? Who do you dance with? Who do you chat with? Yes, so you say, who do you play basketball with? Who do you live with? Yes, so the preposition is always at the end, similar to the example that you have over there. Who do you report to? Not to who do you report. To who do you report? Who do you report to? The preposition is at the end. Yes, and when you say who, in the answer you always have people. Who do you live with? In the answer, I live with And then you mention if you live with your mother, if you live with your father, if you live with your husband, if you live with your wife. So I live with, and then the person. Who do you study with? Who do you study with? In the answer, you will have people. So you will say, I study with Jocelyn. I study with Rodrigo. I study with Walter. So I study with and the person. Yes? Or who is your best friend? Who is your best friend? And then you say, oh, my best friend is my sister. So my sister is a person. So whenever you have the question who, in the answer you have a person. Now, when the question is why, in the answer you have a reason. Why do you get up early? And then you say, because I have a class. Because I have a class. So you say because, because, because. Any questions about it, guys?
Yes. How do you use whom?
Whom is similar to say with who. It's similar to say who do you play with? Who do you play with? And you say whom do you play? But it's not very common. That word is not common right now because it is like all English. It's all English when you say whom. In the present, people use only who. They don't use whom.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome. Another question? No? All right, next part. Next topic was the simple past. And if you remember, we were saying that we have questions in the past and that you use auxiliary. And this auxiliary is did. In the present, the auxiliary is do. If you check the questions, what do you do? What department do you supervise? Does she manage? Does your company manufacture? Do you oversee? Do you report to? So in the present, the auxiliary is do. If you want to say the questions in the past, you eliminate do and you say did. Who, or for example, number one here, what did you do? What department did you supervise in the past? What branch did she manage in the past? Where did your company manufacture in the past? What unit did you oversee in the past? Who did you report to in the past? So if you want to create a question in the present, you use do. If you want to create a question in the past, you use did. And after the auxiliary, you have the subject. You, she, he, your brother, your company, Rodrigo, Jocelyn, whatever you want to mention. Yes, you always have the subject after the auxiliary, and then the verb, oversee, travel, eat, drink, supervise, whatever you want. So this is what you have over here, how to create questions. And for a normal sentence, you use the verb in the past. So you will say, for example, I learned a lot. I learned a lot. I learned a lot. Here you're using the verb in the past. Why? Because the sentence is positive, similar to the next one. I updated my networking skills. I updated, and updated is the verb in the past. Next one, I exchanged business cards. I exchanged business cards. So here you're using the verb in the past. Why? Because the sentence is positive. But if the sentence is negative, you need to use didn't and the verb in the present. Luis didn't attend. Luis didn't play. Luis didn't eat. Luis didn't drink. Luis didn't go. So the verb is in the present. In the present because you have didn't. But the idea is in the past. Yes, because you have didn't. So Luis didn't go. Luis no fue. Luis didn't go. Luis fue. Luis went. So in other words, the verb is in the past only in positive sentences, never in questions, never in negative sentences. Why? Because in negative sentences, you're using an auxiliary and the auxiliary is didn't. And in the questions, you have to use did, and did is the auxiliary, so the verb is in the present. Did you enjoy the seminar? Did you make? Did you play? Did you eat? Did you work? Did Janet update? Did Jocelyn come? Did Walter eat? Did Rodrigo drink? So you always use did, the subject, and the verb, but the verb in the present. Why? Because you have did, and did is in the past. Any questions about it, guys? No? Okay.
No, no question.
And remember the verb be is irregular. So the verb be is not going to use auxiliary. With the verb be, you're going to say, I was in my house yesterday. Yo estuve or yo estaba. I was in my house yesterday. In negative, I wasn't in my house yesterday. So in negative, you cannot say didn't when you use the verb be. You only say, I wasn't in my house yesterday. If you want to ask, were you in your house yesterday? Were you in your house yesterday? And like that. Now, pronunciation. You know that we have regular verbs and we have irregular verbs. For regular verbs, we have some rules. Rules for writing and rules for pronouncing those verbs. So if it is for writing, you have to remember that you only add ed to the verb. You only add ed to the verb. That is the rule. For most of the verbs, you only add ed. For example, if you have work, you only add ed, and that is a past. If you say play, you add ed. If you have open, you add ed. If you have watch, you add ed, and that is a past. But you need to remember that if the verb is ending in the letter E, you only use the letter D. For example, if you say live, you only add the letter D and you will say lived. You don't need to add another E and D. You use the same E that the verb has. So lived. Next rule that you have to remember is that if you have a consonant and the letter Y at the end of a verb, you eliminate Y and you write I, ED. For example, cry, cry, cry. If you see cry, cry is with Y at the end. Before Y, you have R, and R is a consonant. So eliminate Y and you use IED, cried. Yes? But if you have a verb and the verb is ending in Y, but before Y you have a vowel, like in this case play, play has a vowel before the Y. In this case, you're not going to eliminate Y. What are you going to do? Well, you're going to add only the ed because it doesn't have a consonant, so ed. Yes. And the last rule that we had was that we were saying that when we have consonant, vowel, consonant, starting from the end of the verb to the beginning of the verb, you need to have consonant, vowel, consonant. If you have consonant, vowel, consonant, you double the consonant. Yes. And there is also another technique that you can use, but this is not 100% sure. But what you can do is to have verify the stress. If the stress is in the second syllable, you know that you have to double the consonant. Yes, you know that you have to double the consonant. But in the case of shop, for example, you have, if you start from the end of the verb to the beginning of the verb, consonant P, yes, vowel O, yes, consonant H, yes. So you have consonant, vowel, consonant, double the consonant. So you will say shopped, yes. Same thing is going to happen with stop. Stop, P consonant, O vowel, T consonant. Okay, so double the consonant. Stopped. Yes. Or if you say, for example, let's say admit. Admit, T consonant, I vowel, M consonant. So double the consonant. And you will say admitted. Admitted. Yes. Now, something that I want you to remember in this part is that you don't have only the way that you write it, but also the way that you pronounce it. And that ed is going to have three different sounds. You will pronounce it like T, you will pronounce it like D, or you will pronounce it id. So those are the three sounds for the ed. The ed is pronounced like T, like D, or like id. Yes. So when are you going to pronounce it like T? You pronounce it like T when the verb is ending in one of the sounds that I'm going to type right now. So when the verb ends in one of these sounds like K sound, S sound, SH sound, CH sound, X sound, P sound, and F sound, the ED is going to be pronounced like T. For example, if you say work in the present is ending with K. So the ED will be pronounced like T. So how are you going to do it? Well, you're going to say word, word, word. Yes, in that case, it's going to be work in the present, but in the past, it's going to be word. So word is the past. Now, if you say, for example, fix, fix is ending in X. So in the past, you're going to say fixed. Yes, fixed. And the other one is the sound D. You will pronounce it like D when the verb is ending in L, M, N, R, V, B, W, Y, Z, and more. So with those sounds, you're going to pronounce it like D. For
Vowels
example,
too.
and vowels too, exactly, vowels too. So if you say, for example, call, so call, the last sound is L, call. So in the past, you write the ED, but the pronunciation is only the D. So you say cold, 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 and that's it. Yes. And the last sound is id. You will pronounce id, when the verb is ending in T or D. Only that. When the verb is ending in T or D, you say id. For example, we were saying want, in the past is going to be wanted, or visit, visited, or start, started, and like that. Or with D, if you say D, need, need, needed, and like that. So those are the ways that you're going to pronounce them. And you have to remember that if you don't know the sounds, something that you can do is to verify if you have vibration in the sound or no vibration. In my opinion, that is the easy way to know the pronunciation. For example, let's say that we are going to say the verb fix. This is the verb, fix. Ustedes pronuncian el sonido que está al final del verbo y lo dejan por un tiempo para que ustedes cuando estén pronunciando ese sonido se puedan tocar la garganta y ver si hay vibración en ese sonido. No en toda la palabra, sino que en ese sonido de la última letra que tiene el verbo. Entonces venimos y decimos fix. Entonces el último sonido que tengo es de la X. Entonces voy a dejar ese sonido largo, me toco la garganta y veo si tengo vibración. Entonces veamos. Fix. No vibration. No tengo vibración. Entonces, si yo no tengo vibración, yo voy a pronunciarlo como una T. Simple y sencillo. No tengo vibración, entonces lo pronuncio como una T. Fixed. Veamos otro ejemplo. Decíamos work. Entonces, work. Voy a dejar ese sonido de la K largo y allí me voy a tocar. No me voy a tocar antes, ¿sí? Yo me voy a tocar en ese sonido largo que yo voy a dejar para comprobar si tiene vibración o no. No me puedo tocar antes porque antes yo tengo vocales. En todos los verbos tengo vocales. Entonces, si yo me toco antes, voy a sentir vibración. ¿Por qué? Porque estoy pronunciando una vocal y todas las vocales son con vibración. Entonces, solamente es que usted se va a tocar la garganta en el último sonido, la última letra que usted pronuncie y la deje larga. Para comprobarlo, va a dejar largo. Entonces, yo dije fix. No quiere decir que todas las veces que usted diga fix, va a decir fix. No, ¿verdad? Esto es nada más para comprobar la pronunciación. ¿Sí? Entonces, vamos con work. Entonces, work tiene K como último sonido. Esa K la tengo que dejar larga para ver si tiene vibración o no. Entonces, yo voy a decir work. No tengo vibración, entonces worked. Fácil y simple. El último ejemplo. Kiss. Kiss. No tengo vibración, entonces el pasado sería kissed. Esa ED se va a pronunciar como una T, kissed. Ahora, ¿qué pasa con los otros? Con el otro sonido es lo opuesto. Si usted tiene vibración, entonces usted lo va a pronunciar con una D. Entonces veamos el primer ejemplo que teníamos. El primer ejemplo era call. Entonces yo voy a dejar esa L larga para comprobar si tengo vibración. Entonces yo voy a decir call vibration. Si se fijaron, no me toqué al inicio cuando yo dije call. No, yo no tenía la mano puesta cuando yo empecé a pronunciar el verbo. Yo me toqué la garganta cuando yo estaba pronunciando el último sonido de manera larga, porque allí es donde yo voy a verificar, no antes. Entonces, mírenme otra vez en qué momento yo me toco. No me toco al inicio, me toco hasta el final. Vibration. Yes? So now Next example. Clean vibration. So cleaned in the past. Cold in the past. Yes. Y los últimos dos sonidos se los tienen que aprender. La T y la D se va a pronunciar id. Cuando el verbo termine con T, cuando termine con D, usted siempre va a decir id. Eso está más que fácil. ¿Sí? Entonces mi consejo es que lo hagan por vibración o no vibración. Si no tiene vibración, se pronuncia como T. Si tiene vibración, se pronuncia como D. Y obviamente tienen que poner atención porque si el verbo ya termina con T en el presente, termina con D en el presente, lo van a pronunciar con id. ¿Yes? Questions?
No.
All right. So I'm going to send you a verb. I'm going to choose the person and you tell me the pronunciation. So first person is going to be Carla. How do you pronounce it, Carla? Carla. Carla, Carla, Carla. All right, next person. Luis, how do you pronounce it?
Recovered.
What is
Recovered.
the
La
last
R.
sound? Okay, and
R.
how do you pronounce the ed?
When I found a R, I put the D.
Okay, good. It's not that you put the D, you pronounce only D.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
You pronounce only the letter D. So you say recovered, recovered, recovered. Good. Next person. See, Hector.
Let's see, receive. So I received with T. Received.
What is the last sound in the present?
I think it's V.
Okay. So
Receive.
when you pronounce the V, do you have vibration or no vibration?
Receive. I guess not. Receive.
And how do you pronounce that letter in the alphabet?
V.
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 Can
I
you
pronounce V, I feel
do
vibration.
you feel vibration when you say V?
Yes.
So the same thing, you have to pronounce it when you see it in a word with vibration.
Okay, so it's not it's D then, received.
Exactly.
Received.
Because in the present the verb is not receive, it's not receive, it is receive. Receive. When you have the
Okay.
V,
Receive.
whenever you have the letter V, you pronounce it v, v, v. That is the sound that you produce with this V. So you say receive, vacation, vacation, vacation. You don't say vacation, vacation with B, vacation, vacation, Victor, volume, receive, and like that. So you pronounce it v, v, v. So it has vibration. You pronounce it like D. Received. Received.
Received.
Good. Next one. Lose.
Change with T.
Why?
Because we change. Because I don't feel vibration if I say change.
Perfect, perfect, perfect. Because you don't have vibration. And the pronunciation when you say change, the pronunciation is like CH, change. No vibration. Good. So this is the way that you pronounce. Maybe it is easy for you in that way. I suggest it. If you have vibration, pronounce it like D. If you don't have vibration, pronounce it like T. Easy and simple. In this case, in the last one, changed. Yes. And the last sound is id. And for id, you remember that if you have T at the end or the letter D at the end, you pronounce it id. And that is easy and simple. Now, to finish, before you do the test, I'm going to play a video, and here you're going to hear people talking about past. So you will hear some problems that they have. You can hear problems like cold, a cold is resfriado, or the flu, gripe, cough, tos, or backache, dolor de espalda, or stomach ache, dolor de estómago, and like that. So they are used in the past, and you will hear the pronunciation of some verbs too. You will find regular verbs, and you will also find irregular verbs. So I'm going to play it. After we watch the video, we are going to start with the test. So let's watch it.
And then we talked, we ate and drank, and then we walked side by side.
Hi, Bob. How are you today?
I feel great.
I'm glad to hear that.
Hello, Bob. How are you today? I feel fine. I'm happy to hear that.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing today?
Okay,
That's good. Have a nice lunch, Bob.
thanks.
Hi, Bob. How are you doing?
So-so.
Oh, well, have a good afternoon, Bob.
Thanks, Nancy.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Not so good.
Oh, I'm sorry to hear that. Bob, you don't look very well. Are you okay?
I feel terrible.
I'm sorry to hear that. Well, see you tomorrow, Bob.
See you tomorrow, Alan.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
I have a stomach ache.
I have a toothache.
I have a backache.
I have an earache.
I have a sore throat.
I have a cold. Excuse me.
Bless you. What did you do yesterday?
I worked.
I cooked.
I washed my windows.
I played cards with my friends.
I cleaned my house. I studied.
I painted my bathroom.
I planted flowers.
I waited for the plumber all day.
How does David feel? Not so good. What's the matter? He has a backache. A backache? How did he get it? He played basketball all day. Oh. I'm sorry to hear that.
How do you feel?
Not so good.
What's the matter?
I have a stomach ache.
A stomach ache? How did you get it?
I ate cookies all afternoon.
Are you feeling okay?
Not really.
What's the matter?
I have a headache.
A headache? That's too bad. How did you get it?
I drank coffee all morning.
How are you feeling?
Not so great.
What's wrong?
I have a terrible backache.
I'm sorry to hear that. What did you do?
I sat at my desk all day today.
How do you feel today?
Awful.
What's the matter?
I have a very bad sore throat.
I'm sorry to hear that. How did you get it?
I sang all day today. And how do you feel today?
I feel great.
I'm glad to hear that.
What did you do today?
I washed my floors.
Your floors?
Yes, I washed my floors all day. What did you do today?
I cleaned my house.
Your house?
Yes, I cleaned my house all day. What did you do today?
I painted my porch.
Your porch?
Yes, I painted my porch all day. What did you do today?
I fixed my sink.
Your sink?
Yes, I fixed my sink all day.
I washed my floors.
I cleaned my house.
I painted my porch.
I fixed my sink.
We worked at home all day.
All right, and I guess you could identify the pronunciation of regular verbs over there. Obviously, you have regular and irregular verbs, yes? So now it's time for the exam. Now, I just need that you go to Schoology. I will share the screen with you so that you can see it. You go to Schoology, and you're going to go to week number 2. In week number 2, I will give you the instructions in Spanish so that it is clear. Se van para la semana 2. En la semana 2 van a encontrar al final, dice examen semanal. Entonces entran al examen semanal y ahí van a poder completarlo. Ahora, a mí me aparece de esta manera, a ustedes les va a aparecer de otra manera. En la primera parte ustedes tienen el listening, entonces ustedes van a reproducir el audio aquí, le dan aquí.
So, what did you do last night, John?
Y escuchan la conversación. Escuchan la conversación y luego van a escribir el nombre de la persona que hizo cada una de las actividades. Por ejemplo, en la primera actividad dice went to a party. Entonces tiene 2 personas. La primera persona, vean aquí arriba, dice listen to John. Entonces la primera persona es John y la otra persona es Laura. Laura, que sería Laura, ¿verdad? Pues se pronuncia Laura. Entonces John y Laura, ustedes van a escuchar a ellos describiendo lo que hicieron la noche anterior. Tiene aquí las acciones, son 5 acciones y usted tiene que poner el nombre de la persona que hizo cada una de las acciones. En mi caso, no me aparece aquí donde escribir porque yo tengo la versión original, digamos. Usted, como tiene la versión de estudiante, a usted en la parte de abajo, si entran ahorita, lo van a poder ver. Si ustedes entran, ustedes van a poder ver que abajo de estas opciones, ustedes tienen un espacio para escribir. Y ahí les aparece como respuesta 1, respuesta 2, respuesta 3, respuesta 4, respuesta 5. Les aparece una fila. Para que usted ponga la respuesta número 1, le aparece una fila. Le aparece otra fila para que ponga la respuesta número 2. Le aparece otra fila para que ponga la respuesta número 3, la número 4 y la número 5. ¿Sí?
Ya entré, pero ya me entra a contar el tiempo, ¿no?
No tiene tiempo.
Ok.
No tiene tiempo. Aquí pueden llegar hasta las 8 y no hay ningún problema. Entonces, ahí tienen las opciones abajo. Ahí tienen la barrita abajo o la línea. donde usted va a digitar la respuesta, ¿sí? Entonces va a escribir el nombre Laura o va a escribir el nombre John, así de sencillo. Y si las dos personas hicieron la misma actividad, lo puede poner, ¿sí? Ponga Laura y John, ¿sí? Entonces va a poner el nombre de la persona, va a poner Laura, va a poner John o poner los dos. Entonces, es una primera parte. La segunda parte, usted completa las oraciones usando los verbos que tienen paréntesis. Por ejemplo, dice I y el verbo en paréntesis es drive. ¿Y qué va a hacer? Aquí, todo este ejercicio usted lo va a completar utilizando el pasado, el simple past. ¿Sí? Va a completarlo utilizando el simple past. Y en paréntesis tienen el verbo que va a ocupar. Va a ocupar el primero drive. Entonces, tiene que fijarse si la oración es positiva, si es negativa o si es pregunta. Por ejemplo, la número 1 es positiva. La número 2 es negativa. ¿Cómo sé que es negativa? Porque ahí dice not go. Entonces, ¿qué tiene que hacer usted? Crear esa oración de manera negativa. Entonces, si usted mira not, significa hacerlo negativo. Si no tiene not, significa que lo va a hacer de la manera positiva. ¿Sí? Y de igual manera, ahí les va a aparecer un espacio donde ustedes van a completar cada uno de los ejercicios. Entonces, ustedes tienen que fijar, el ejercicio número 1 tiene su propio espacio donde usted va a escribir la respuesta para el número 1. El número 2 tiene su espacio donde usted va a escribir la respuesta del número 2. El número 3 tiene su espacio también y todos tienen su espacio. ¿Sí? Entonces les va a salir una barrita donde va a estar el espacio que ustedes tienen que digitar. A la mayoría creo que les va a aparecer en la parte de abajo. Después de donde están los ejercicios, ahí en la parte de abajo les aparece una barrita larga. Entonces ahí es donde ustedes van a digitar la respuesta.
Donde dice blank.
Exacto, donde dice blank. Entonces allí van a digitar ustedes la respuesta. Ahora, ¿qué van a hacer? ¿Van a escribir toda la oración? No necesariamente toda la oración. Lo que van a digitar es nada más lo que falta allí en el espacio. Ya tienen I y ya tienen my new car yesterday. Entonces, ¿qué va a hacer? Ocupar el verbo que está en paréntesis y lo pone en positivo o lo pone en negativo. Así de sencillo. Esa es la tarea. En ese espacio que usted tiene va a poner nada más el verbo en positivo o el verbo en negativo. Ustedes se tienen que acordar que si el verbo es positivo lo ponen en el pasado y si es negativo ponen didn't y el verbo. Simple y sencillo. Entonces eso es lo que van a hacer. Poner el verbo en el pasado o ponerle didn't y el verbo en el presente. Solamente. Luego en el número 3 tienen que escribir la pronunciación correcta para ese sonido. Si es con T, si es con D o si es id. Entonces el primero, ¿cómo lo pronunciarían? Lo pronunciarían con una T, lo pronunciarían con una D o lo pronunciarían con id. En la parte de abajo, igual les va a aparecer el blank, el espacio en blanco allí abajo en una barra larga. Entonces ahí ustedes nada más van a poner la letra. ¿Cuál es el sonido que se va a escuchar de la ED? ¿Se va a escuchar una T? Si usted cree que se va a escuchar una T, ponga la letra T. Si usted cree que se va a escuchar la D, ponga la D. Si usted cree que se va a escuchar id, ponga id. Así de sencillo. Luego tienen complete the exercises using the verbs given. Aquí tiene otro ejercicio donde usted tiene que ocupar la forma correcta del verbo. Si ustedes se fijan aquí, tienen in charge of. ¿Cómo lo van a completar? Tienen el verbo check en paréntesis. Entonces, ¿cómo tiene que ser ese verbo? ¿Cómo lo tiene que poner? ¿Se puede poner in charge of check? ¿Verdad que no? Entonces, ¿cómo se dice? In charge of y pone el verbo nada más. Lo único que usted va a hacer es poner ese verbo. Si usted cree que lleva el ing, póngale el ing. Entonces, eso va a ser nada más. Y creo que a ustedes les aparece otra parte donde está una lectura. No sé si me equivoco.
No, teacher.
No,
No
teacher.
veo eso.
I don't
No,
see
teacher.
a lecture.
No, hasta la última parte.
¿No les aparece?
No.
Bueno, entonces
No.
en el próximo
No,
sí
teacher.
en el próximo sí les va a aparecer. En el
For
próximo
the
sí les va a
next one.
aparecer porque siempre viene una parte de lectura. Vaya, entonces, ahorita lo pueden completar. Tienen hasta las 7:59, digamos, para enviarlo. ¿Cómo lo van a enviar? Si lo están haciendo desde su computadora, aquí en la parte de abajo les aparece Submit. ¿Sí? Cuando ustedes ya lo han terminado, aquí abajo les va a aparecer Submit. Entonces, hasta que usted le dé Submit, hasta allí ya me envió el examen. Si no le da Submit, no me va a aparecer enviado el examen. Entonces, primero completa todo usted y luego le da Submit. Al darle Submit, usted ya me envió el examen. Ahora, ¿qué pasa si usted no comprendió algo? Usted tiene otra oportunidad para hacerlo, ¿sí? Pero lo mejor es que lo envíen en la primera, ¿verdad? Y una cosa más, si lo están haciendo desde su teléfono, tengan cuidado, porque si lo están haciendo desde su teléfono y ustedes están revisando el chat o el WhatsApp o se salen del examen, con solo salirse del examen ya se lo cuenta como que usted ya envió el examen. Entonces tienen que tener cuidado, se tienen que enfocar en el examen y eso es todo. No se salgan porque si se salen del examen se los va a contar como enviado y les va a contar nada más lo que escribieron. Si escribieron una respuesta, eso les contaría. Entonces, focus on the exam and complete it. Yes? So, let's get started. Si alguien tiene...
Teacher.
Yes?
Sorry, and then we stay for the last attendance or...
Exactly. Si terminan el examen, solo me dicen done, que lo terminaron, o me dicen finished. Voy a verificar yo en el sistema para que me aparezca que ya lo enviaron. Y si me aparece enviado, pues simplemente relájese y espere hasta el último minuto para que podamos tomar la asistencia, ¿verdad? Porque su asistencia tiene que estar exactamente en el último minuto. ¿Sí?
Okay, thank you, teacher.
You're welcome. So, start the quiz. Si tienen problemas con el audio, díganme, así yo les reproduzco el audio desde mi computadora para todos. ¿Sí? Entonces, comiencen ahorita. Good luck.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Teacher,
Yes.
en mi caso no se me reproduce el audio. Sí.
Vayan, entonces,
Igual
para...
solo reproduce como 2 segundos y luego es como que se traba.
Vayan, entonces lo voy a reproducir yo para...
So, what did you do last night, John?
Pero alguien está escuchando por ahí. Ok, entonces lo voy a...
Es que solo se reproduce, hasta ahí se queda.
Vale, entonces lo voy a reproducir yo para todos y ustedes lo van completando.
Thank you.
I went to my boss's house.
So, what did you do last night, John?
I went to my boss's house. He invited me over for dinner.
Really? How was it?
Oh, the food was excellent, but he talked about football all night, and I hate football. Then we watched a boring sports video.
How awful. I know how you feel about sports.
I didn't get home until after midnight.
That doesn't sound like much fun. I had a great time last night.
Oh, yeah? What did you do?
I went to a party and met an old school friend of mine. We went to high school together. We had lots to talk about. I stayed out until about 1 a.m., so I got home really late too.
It sounds like you had a better time than I did.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
Ok. Bueno, esa era la primera, ¿verdad? De prueba. Entonces ustedes escucharon que es una conversación entre Laura y John. Entonces, Laura es la chica, ¿verdad? John es el chico. Ustedes van a escuchar quién hizo esa actividad. ¿Quién fue a una fiesta? ¿Laura o John? ¿Quién tuvo una buena ah, meal? Meal es como desayuno,
Como
almuerzo,
comida.
cena, un tiempo de comida, exacto. Entonces, ¿quién tuvo un buen tiempo de comida? ¿Quién vio videos? ¿Quién conoció o se reunió con un viejo amigo? ¿Quién llegó tarde a casa? Entonces usted va a elegir si fue el chico, si fue la chica o si fueron los dos. So, listen again and complete it.
So, what did you do last night, John?
I went to my boss's house. He invited me over for dinner.
Really? How was it?
Oh, the food was excellent, but he talked about football all night, and I hate football. Then we watched a boring sports video.
How awful. I know how you feel about sports.
I didn't get home until after midnight.
That doesn't sound like much fun. I had a great time last night.
Oh, yeah? What did you do?
I went to a party and met an old school friend of mine. We went to high school together. We had lots to talk about. I stayed out until about 1 a.m., so I got home really late too.
It sounds like you had a better time than I did.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right. Last time. Última vez.
So, what did you do last night, John?
I went to my boss's house. He invited me over for dinner.
Really? How was it?
Oh, the food was excellent, but he talked about football all night, and I hate football. Then we watched a boring sports video.
How awful. I know how you feel about sports.
I didn't get home until after midnight.
That doesn't sound like much fun. I had a great time last night.
Oh, yeah? What did you do?
I went to a party and met an old school friend of mine. We went to high school together. We had lots to talk about. I stayed out until about 1 a.m., so I got home really late too.
It sounds like you had a better time than I did.
Yeah, I guess you're right.
All right. So now you can continue with the rest.
Done.
Done.
Good.
Done.
Done.
Good.
Done.
Done.
Good.
Done.
Good.
Done.
Good.
Done.
Done, teacher.
Good. Letty, did you say Dawn?
Me? Yes.
Because I don't have it in the system.
Okay. So
And then
click
two, teacher.
again.
Maybe you're missing submit. Verify that part, because if you don't click on submit, I don't receive it. Now I did. Good. So I guess everyone has finished. Yes, yes. Yes. Okay. So now let's see what will happen. I know that for some of you, for example, who were asking about contractions, no contractions. Some of you were saying about that you made a mistake typing the name of John, or some of you had a mistake. What was the other one? That there was a verb and probably you forgot a letter. So it's not a problem, because I check, I don't trust in systems. So I always go one by one. So I have to check it one by one, just to make sure that you are having the correct score. Or probably you, I don't know, let's say that you had a verb and you did it with capital letter and you didn't need to use capital letter. So that is not a mistake. It's just that you wrote capital letter. Or for some of you, the apostrophe. Maybe you didn't have apostrophe and you put an accent over there. So another punctuation mark, no problem. I will go one by one. Yes, and to try to give you the score. And the scores are going to be ready by Sunday, because that is the last day of this week. Michelle is saying that she put the two things, contractions and no contractions. Okay, so I will check it and take one of them. Good. So I don't know if you have any questions.
No, teacher.
I guess Raúl is asking the same. ¿Va a tomar como buena o necesariamente tenía que ser con contracción? No, contraction or no contraction. Contraction or no contraction. Yes. Now, the idea, well, this is the first exam. So sometimes the first exam is a little bit complicated because it is your first time using this platform, or just because you didn't have time to study. But if you didn't have time to study, just try to study for the next one. Remember that we have 4 evaluations that are considered like exams. We have 2 oral evaluations and 2 written evaluations. So the first oral evaluation, we had it last week. That was a super good presentation that you all had about the mission, the vision of the company, and the structure of the company. So that was super, super good. And today is the second one, that is written exam. Next week, you're going to have the next speaking evaluation, that is oral presentation. And I will tell you right now what you're going to do next week. And the last week is going to be just the final test, and that will be the last one. Now, for those who haven't completed the Foro Evaluado, because I was checking and there are some people that have not completed Foro Evaluado, complete it. You are 21, so I need to have 21 people in the Foro Evaluado. I need to have 21 people in the exercises. Necesitan completar el foro evaluado y necesitan entregar los ejercicios donde dice entrega de ejercicios. Ahí está la tarea 1 y la tarea 2 que tienen que completar. Entonces la completan igual como lo hicieron con la primera semana y lo suben. Algunos todavía faltan de la primera semana. Eso tiene que estar completado porque si no, no les aparece en las notas. Entonces tienen que completarlo a más tardar este domingo. Este domingo por la mañana ya tiene que estar todo las actividades en el sistema. Ahora, les voy a explicar en qué va a consistir la próxima evaluación oral para que vayan haciéndolo con tiempo.
Teacher, I had a question.
Yes.
What is the minimum score to pass the course?
The minimum score for INSAFORP is 7, but the minimum score for the academy is 8.
So you need
8.
7 or 8.
You need 8. You need 8, maybe 7 would be considered like acceptable, but for the academy is 8. And the reason is because the academy is, let's say that they are a little bit strict in the level that you have, because they want to make like the difference between speak and other places. So when you come to speak and you are in a basic 6, that means that you have a good level.
Teacher, I have a question with the level. How many levels the academy have?
Well, the program that is from INSAFORP is designed in 6 basic or principiantes. There are basic, so 6 basic, 6 intermediate, and 6 advanced. But when you are in basic 6, for us, you need to speak well when you are in basic 6. When you are in intermediate, you start with topics that are advanced in intermediate. And even in advanced, you're going to have topics that are more like projects that you will present and things like that. So it is like more technical when you are in advanced. So when you are in intermediate 6, you have to be able to express everything perfectly in the present, the past, the future, present perfect, things like that. So let's see what you have for the next week. Next week, and if you go to Examen Semanal, it says oral presentation, telling a problem that you have, and suggestions will be given. So I will tell you right now what it is, so that if you don't have enough time on the week or on weekdays, you can do it probably this weekend so that you feel relaxed during the week. So the presentation is about a problem, a situation, an experience that happened to you. That experience happened to you in the past. Yes? And that experience had a consequence, and that consequence is in the present. So I repeat it. Una experiencia que les pasó a ustedes pudo haber sido algún problema que tuvieron en el pasado, y que ese problema en el pasado todavía tiene consecuencias en el presente. Yes? Any kind of situations. So I will give you an example. I'm going to invent it. I'm going to make it up. So this situation happened to me last year. And before I start, I need to tell you something. This is going to be minimum 3 minutes. Minimum 3 minutes. Mínimo 3 minutos. ¿Y cómo van a ser 3 minutos? Tienen que dar detalles, muchos detalles, describir todo lo que pasó. Entonces, un día yo estaba caminando en la calle y era para el tiempo de lluvias. Entonces, yo caminaba por la calle con una sombrilla, pero la sombrilla era muy pequeña y venía del supermercado, estaba muy cargado. Entonces, trataba de proteger las compras. De repente no me fijé y me paré sobre una bolsa. Me paré sobre la bolsa y me caí. Al caer, quebré todos los productos que traía del supermercado. Tuve un raspón en mi brazo. Un raspón en mi brazo. Y luego una persona me ayudó a levantarme. Al levantarme, me fijé que toda mi ropa estaba llena de lodo. Traté de limpiarme, pero fue imposible. Unas personas se rieron de mí otros se preocuparon y me ayudaron. Entonces, una señora que estaba a la par mía me dijo que me ayudaría a llegar a mi casa. La señora me acompañó en el camino. Yo llegué a mi casa, me di una ducha, me cambié, me vi el brazo, me lo curé y 2 días después sentía un dolor. Fui al doctor y el doctor me dijo que no era nada grave, pero que tenía que tener reposo. Pasaron 15 días y el dolor continuaba. Luego fui donde un señor que soba y me sobó el brazo. El señor me dijo que estaría bien en 3 días, pero hasta este momento, cuando hace frío, mi brazo me duele. Entonces, ese es el problema que aún tengo en el presente. Entonces, eso lo estoy diciendo en español, ustedes obviamente lo dicen en inglés. Cualquier situación que les haya pasado, una situación que sea de algún problema, no necesariamente tiene que ser algo grave, ¿verdad? Sino que algo sencillo. Compraron algún producto, no les sirvió y hasta este momento ustedes todavía tienen problemas porque lo necesitan. O yo iba en camino al volcán a pasar un fin de semana con mi familia. Yo usualmente le agrego agua a mi carro antes de salir, pero ese día se me olvidó. Iba camino al volcán cuando de repente empezó a salir humo de parte de dentro del carro. No sabía qué hacer porque era la primera vez que me pasaba. Entonces llamé al mecánico, el mecánico me dijo que le echara agua, le eché agua, pero no me funcionó. Entonces una persona pasó por donde yo estaba y me ayudó. Pude llegar hasta el volcán. De regreso a casa me sucedió lo mismo. Tuve que pasar por el mecánico me dijo que lo arreglaría, eh, lo reparó en unos minutos y me lo entregó. Regresé a mi casa. Cuando llegué a mi casa, justamente antes de entrar al garage, mi carro se detuvo nuevamente con el mismo problema. Entonces ahora no sé cómo hacer, porque si salgo, mi carro se quedará en la calle. Entonces, algo por el estilo. Entonces, luego que ustedes describen su problema, sus compañeros les van a dar sugerencias. Entonces, ellos les van a decir, oh, you should buy another car because that one doesn't work. Or you should go to another mechanic. Entonces, deberías ir a otro mecánico, deberías comprar otro carro. Entonces, ese deberías es el tema que van a ver la próxima semana, cómo dar consejos para problemas. Pero obviamente, describir el problema sería en el pasado, ¿sí? Todo el problema que usted va a describir que le pasó, todo eso va a ir en el pasado. Entonces, eso ya lo saben ustedes, el pasado ya se lo pueden. Entonces, eso ya lo pueden ir trabajando. Ahora, ¿cómo va a ser la presentación? Va a ser oral. Significa que ustedes no necesitan texto. ¿Sí? Y entonces, ¿cómo se van a ir guiando? Pues pongan las imágenes. Entonces, un día yo iba camino al volcán y la foto del volcán, nada más fotos, ¿sí? La foto del volcán, iba camino al volcán y la foto del volcán. Cuando de repente mi carro empezó a producir humo y un carro con humo. Entonces, cositas así, ¿verdad? Que le vayan guiando su secuencia de la historia. Obviamente, no texto, ¿verdad? Nada de texto, nada de texto. Solo las imágenes en orden para que a usted le vayan ayudando en describir la situación. Entonces, igual ustedes lo pueden proyectar, ¿verdad? Así como proyectaron la presentación que tuvieron sobre la misión y la visión, lo mismo van a hacer con esta presentación, la proyectan desde su computadora, también lo pueden hacer desde su teléfono para que sus compañeros puedan ver la imagen y vayan teniendo una idea, se puedan ir como imaginando esa historia que le sucedió. Y luego sus compañeros le van a dar esos consejos. Questions?
For 3 minutes.
Sorry?
For 3 minutes.
3 minutes minimum.
Oh.
3 minutes. Entonces, look for descriptions, details. traten de dar la mayor parte o la mayor cantidad de detalles posible. Entonces, si era un día lluvioso, diga, it was a rainy day. I didn't want to go to that place, but my mother sent me to buy those products to the supermarket. The supermarket was crowded, and I was angry because I had to wait for about 1 hour to enter to the supermarket because of the pandemic. So when I entered to the supermarket, I bought different products, and I bought eggs. So I was going back home because my house is near the supermarket. So I was walking when suddenly I put my foot on a plastic bag and I slipped and I fell down. So I was really, really embarrassed because many people were around me. One person laughed at me, another person helped me. There was a woman, and that woman helped me to pick up the things. The eggs were broken. All the products that were like made of glass were broken. So, descriptions. Entonces, traten de buscar la mayoría de descripciones posibles. Obviamente, a lo mejor va a haber alguna frase que usted va a decir en el presente, pero la mayoría va a ser en el pasado. El 97% de lo que usted diga tiene que ser en el pasado. ¿Sí? Entonces eso sería prácticamente lo que tienen para la próxima semana. Así que trabajen en eso este fin de semana para que la otra semana solo lo estén como practicando, ¿verdad? Y así puedan hacer una buena presentación.
When will be the presentation?
The presentation will be on Friday. Friday.
Okay.
Good. Okay, so first person, Isaac Aguillón.
Present.
Good. Hazael Alfaro.
Present.
Good. Rodrigo Alfaro.
Present.
Good. Carlos Asensio.
Present.
Good. Osvaldo Cáceres.
Present.
Good. Elizabeth Castro.
Present.
Good. Jordi Castro.
Present.
Good. Nathalie Dubon.
Present.
Good. René Gutiérrez.
Present.
Good. Luz.
Present.
Good. Luis.
Present.
Jose is not here. Letty.
Present.
Good. Jocelyn.
Present.
Good. Raúl.
Present.
Good. Jaime.
Present.
Carla. Well, Carla is there.
Present.
Héctor.
Present.
Walter.
Present.
Michelle.
Present.
Candy.
Present.
And Brian.
Present.
All right, so that's all for now, guys. We are going to continue on Monday. Thank you for being there and have a nice weekend.
Bye.
Nice
Thank
weekend,
you.
teacher.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thank
Bye.
you.